This is The Gist, the essential podcast for the discerning listener.
Welcome to The Gist. I'm John.
And I'm Mary. It is Saturday, August 8th, 2026. Let's get right into it.
Today's Gist View takes us to Taiwan. Next week, the island is doing something unusual. They are deliberately slowing down their mobile internet.
It is part of a civilian resilience exercise. The goal is to force people to find alternative ways to communicate during a potential attack.
Think of it like a fire drill. But instead of just ringing an alarm, the building manager actually shuts off your power.
Exactly. And looking at the power dynamics here is fascinating. Who usually pays for national defence? We tend to think of state military budgets, taxes paying for tanks, ships and planes.
But Taiwan is shifting that burden. By purposely degrading its own infrastructure, Taipei pushes the cost of preparedness directly onto the consumer.
Right, the government is willing to disrupt commercial activity. They're even risking public panic. Why? Because they get a huge return on that investment. They gain a population that is forced to innovate and build private backup networks before a real crisis hits.
The Wall Street Journal points out this internet throttling doesn't actually improve military operations during a real blockade, but it forces early civilian adaptation.
It mirrors history perfectly. Back in 1937, Britain passed the Air Raid Precautions Act. The government didn't just build bunkers, they made households buy and test their own blackout materials. It moves the cost of deterrence straight into the civilian economy.
Moving to the global overview. In Washington, the United States Senate just confirmed Todd Blanche as the permanent United States Attorney General. The vote was incredibly tight, 50 to 49.
Blanche is President Trump's former defense attorney. Moving him from an interim role to the permanent head of the Justice Department is a major stress test for the United States system.
It directly tests the separation of powers. That is the structural wall meant to keep the executive branch, like the president, from controlling the judicial and legal branches. When you put a personal defense lawyer in charge of federal law enforcement, it signals a massive consolidation of power.
Speaking of shifting power, let's look at corporate finance. Companies are fundamentally changing how they borrow money.
We are in a higher for longer interest rate environment. Borrowing cash is expensive and it will stay that way. So indebted companies are ditching private credit.
Private credit is non-bank lending. It is when a private investment fund lends money directly to a company. It is fast, but it carries much higher interest rates.
Now, companies are running back to the traditional bank loan market. Specifically, they want syndicated loans. That is where a group of regular banks teams up to offer cheaper capital.
It's like refinancing an expensive payday loan with a standard bank mortgage because you realise rates aren't dropping anytime soon.
Oh, Bloomberg reports this is a huge win for traditional banks. They are reclaiming major market share. On the diplomatic front, Bloomberg notes that United States envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are planning visits to Kiev and Moscow in the next week to 10 days.
We are watching this United States brokering effort closely. But frankly, just like the ongoing debate about the prospective United States-Iran shipping deal in the Strait of Hormuz, we remain highly sceptical about the structural durability of these agreements. It is one thing to broker a handshake. It is another to change the underlying economic incentives.
Let's turn to the European perspective. On August the 5th, a piece of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket crashed into the moon.
It left a massive crater. Imagery from the Korea Aerospace Research Institute confirmed the impact, according to Wired. And the global reaction is a perfect case study in competing incentives.
Scientists around the world are thrilled. Researchers see this as a free scientific opportunity to study the dirt churned up from under the lunar surface.
But European institutions reacted very differently. According to Le Monde, specialists in Europe immediately focused on legal liability. They denounced the crash, citing a dangerous absence of a legal framework.
It is a clash of mindsets. Scientists want data, European regulators want rules. This shows a regulatory mindset that prioritizes theoretical legal jurisdiction over actual space capability.
It's like someone dropping a massive, rare meteorite in a public park. The geologists rush in to study it, but the local city council just wants to issue a littering fine.
Still, the regulators have a point about the flow of resources. Right now, commercial space companies can privatize the benefits of space exploration while socializing the long-term costs of space junk. If there are no enforceable rules, the public eventually pays the cleanup bill.
Back on Earth, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky just travelled to Belgrade. He met with Serbian President Alexander Vučić.
Vučić is a master of strategic balancing. He constantly walks a tightrope between the European Union and Russia.
This meeting is a win for both sides' immediate interests. For Kiev, pulling Serbia closer reduces Moscow's influence in the region.
And for Belgrade, aligning with Ukraine gives Vučić valuable diplomatic leverage with European institutions. But he manages to do it without cutting off Serbia's structural reliance on cheap Russian energy networks. It is pure political survival.
Finally, let's look at Italy. The Campania region just issued a €400 million tender to dredge and redevelop the Sarno River.
The Sarno was previously classified as Europe's most polluted waterway. Il Sole 24 Ora reports this massive capital injection is about to change that.
And here is the power dynamic at play. This money transforms a chronic, toxic environmental liability into a massive, direct revenue stream for regional infrastructure contractors. Cleaning up a mess is highly profitable if the state is writing the cheque.
That brings us to today's temperature check. Across the board today, we are seeing the costs of big challenges being actively reassigned. In Taiwan, the cost of defence moves to the civilian consumer. In space, the cost of exploration falls on the public domain. But in Italy, we see the flip side. A public environmental disaster becomes a private financial opportunity. The flow of resources never stops, it just changes direction.
Exactly. And if you enjoyed today's power analysis, make sure you don't miss out on our daily written edition. You can subscribe to the Gist newsletter for free. Just tap the link right there in our show notes. It's the perfect brisk read for your morning commute.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time on The Gist.
The Gist, News Digest, and podcast are entirely written and produced by artificial intelligence. The Gist is out 3 times a day, every day, providing you with a liberal perspective on what to expect next. For more information and donations, visit thegist.online. Thank you for listening.